Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new season of the Youth Have a Voice podcast, season 2. My name is Feolami Joseph. I am the host of this podcast, and I am really excited to be here with you all for a brand new season. Today, we have our very first guest for season 2. Her name is Timao Stephen-Kings from Nigeria. I'm just going to be talking a bit about her before I let her introduce herself for today's session. Timao is a sustainability creative from Lagos, Nigeria. She's the co-founder of Bedazzled, a recycling studio where they turn waste plastic into jewelry and design pieces. And she and her team host hands-on recycling workshops for kids and adults and partner with organizations and communities to educate them on sustainability and recycling practices. She loves blending art, recycling, upcycling, DIYs, and fashion with storytelling to show that sustainability can sparkle. Hi, Timel. How are you today?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. Fun fact, I found him out through TikTok like last year. She came up on my For You page and I was like, okay, I need to have her on this show. She actually started up the Youth Have a Voice kind of last year when we began because we spotlighted her and her sister for our Spotlight the Youth Challenge. And then this year I thought it would be lovely to have her on board as a guest. So thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining me today. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much for having me. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. To start off, I would like to know, could you tell us a bit more about yourself and how you began your journey in creativity and sustainability?
Okay. So I'm Timao and I'm a recycling and sustainability creative here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I run Bedazzled at an Aesthetics, a recycling studio that turns waste plastic into jewelry and home design products. So initially, I had come up with a business idea that I thought was really cool, and then I was checking online how to improve it and make it better, and I stumbled across a video on recycling, and I was just so amazed at what they were doing. And then I spent the next year educating myself and experimenting on the whole process, and yeah, that's how this came about. So I now left the whole idea I had and then just turned to this.
Thank you so much, Timao. And just to confirm, how long have you been running Bedazzled for?
For the last 2.5 years. So yeah, 2.5 years.
I think there was a video of yours that blew up on TikTok. Just to know, how has social media kind of shaped your journey as a young entrepreneur and as a creative?
Okay, so initially I was going to start with furniture pieces, so like small stools and things like that. So when I made my first jewelry pieces, I just made them to wear for myself. And then people were like, oh, where did you get this from? And things like that. So I said, okay, I could post it online. And then I posted and it blew up. Like people were really intrigued and amazed with what I was doing. So I think that gave me some level of confidence to continue creating and dive into more variety of jewelry and stuff like that. So
Thank you so
yeah.
much for sharing, Timao. And by the way, I think your room is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I can see like a newspaper backdrop and I absolutely love
Thank
it.
you. So I transformed the room into like a workshop for me. So I have a lot of upcycled. I used 100% upcycled wood, so I don't buy wood. I just upcycle wood. I've made a couple of tables and stands for my products. And here is a mirror with a frame made from plastic waste. So just a lot of DIYs here and there that I work with and make the space comfortable for me to do my work here.
Thank you so much for sharing. I honestly think it's so cool. And I think that
Thank you.
just leads me to my next question. You seem like such a very creative person. I would like to know, have you always been creative? How was life for you when you were growing up? Is it something that you kind of discovered when you got a bit older?
Okay, I think I've always been somewhat creative. So I've always liked DIYs and junk and upcycling things and arts basically. So um there's this line from a Bani song. I don't really remember the full song, but it says, with my imagination and a Bani bag, we'll see what we can make today. So I feel like that was my motto growing up. So I did a lot of DIYs and arts and things like that. I basically look at something and see what it can become. So I did not know it would lead to this career path, but I've definitely always had this maker spirit. And then yeah, I think it has always been a part of me and shaped what I've become today. Yeah. Um,
I also really loved Barney when I was growing up. I think it also
yeah.
had such a huge shaping of my childhood. And I think it kind of leads me to my next question on how you were growing up. I know you do this with your sister, yes? Would you like to share a bit
Yeah.
more about that? And how exactly did it start that, okay, I want to start using recycled materials to start creating things and recycling and reupcycling things for the environment and as a business yourself?
Okay, so my sister and I have been really close, and we are practically the same person in different points. So we have similar ideas. So I initially came up with the idea, but obviously we are co-founders now because we basically do most things together. So it's really nice to have somebody to share your vision and your dream with, because starting something that is not really known can be difficult because people would not understand what you're doing and they tend to judge. So having somebody that shares your vision without judging and is just down for it to do whatever you bring, it's really amazing. So we work on designs and just ideas together. So that's, I do most of the production, but the designs and brainstorming and social media, we do that together. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I think that I would also like to know that in Nigeria, for example, is this your full-time job or is it something you do on the side?
Yes, I do it full time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, a lot of parents in Nigeria and a lot of adults, sometimes they don't really understand that people can actually be in creative careers and just do something by themselves and make a living out of it. Sometimes it's, oh, if you don't go to traditional engineering or law or being a doctor, it's more like, if you're not doing that, what exactly are you doing with your life? So, did you kind of face that backlash when you were little, or was it completely fine for you? And then, even now, how have your parents kind of accepted what you do?
Okay. Fortunately for me, my parents are 100% encouraging. So when I initially told my mom about the idea, before I had started production or gotten my equipment, she was already gathering the plastic for me. So a lot of times I go to church and a couple of places, and I would hear about my brand from people. Like my mom has been fully supportive of the journey, and my dad also. He's also. I think I got my whole DIY spirit from him. So they fully accepted what I do, which I'm grateful for. But for other adults outside, when you tell them about what you do at first, they're like, "Oh, that's cool." But when they hear that it's like your full-time job or something, they feel like, "Ah, are you not playing?" Something like that. But I think consistency helps when they see that, okay, you are all for this thing and this is what you hold dear. They tend to, after a while, um, shift from the judgy part to being encouraging. So one thing you can always do is just know why you are doing what you are doing and know that you are creating value and be consistent. So that helps a lot. Just forget about the background noise and the criticism, just for what you want and be consistent with it.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think that it's really nice to see that more parents are becoming more liberal and open-minded. And it's
Yeah.
really great to see that your parents are really supportive of the different activities that you do. I think you're doing such an amazing work myself. Um, and I can see you're actually wearing one, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. I'd also like to know kind of like the production process. How long does it take to make a piece? What's the process of collecting? Because I know you use bottle caps. What's the process of
Yeah.
getting those together? How long does it take to finally make something and then eventually produce it?
Okay, for the process, um, it depends on what you are making. If it's just dependent, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to create a piece,
Okay.
depending on how complicated it is. And the process includes sorting, like, okay, you get your plastic, you sort it, you have to confirm first that is the right type of plastic to use, because I don't just use bottle covers. Those are the most available plastic for the type of plastic I use. So I use
Okay.
HDPE, high density polyethylene. So if you get a bottle cap or any plastic and you check, they have little triangles on them. So the one with number 2 in it, that's the type I use. So you can also find it in some body care products like shampoos and body lotions and things like that. But it's easier to collect bottle caps. Anyway, so you collect your plastic, you sort it out. I sort it based on the color, because most of the time people want specific colors. So I sort it based on the color to help with that. And then I shred it. I shred the plastic, then I melt, and then I mold it out. So I sometimes just cut out shapes. Then other times it depends on what the customer wants. Some of them want specific designs, or like they can get an idea and then send it to me and I can just do exactly what they want. Some people want like their names and things like that. So I also have to work longer on those pieces. Like it can take me over an hour to do those ones. So for the basic ones, it takes like 15 to 20 minutes, and then the other ones can take up to an hour or two, basically. So for the materials, I get most of my plastic from family and friends. I have a lot of bottle covers with me currently. So people just willingly give me bags of their plastic, like they collect it over some time, a while, and then they hand it over to me. So that's where I get my plastic from. But when I expand, I plan on partnering with little restaurants and stuff to just gather, and schools around to gather their plastic and use them for
Together.
production.
I think that's really cool. And I think that what also makes your project and your business so cool is that you're actually giving back to the environment, because so many people throw so many plastics away, and you actually just see that you can reuse these things to make a difference in your society. Because at the end of the day, if everyone is throwing their plastics on the floor, the place is going to be messy, it's going to be dirty, but you've been able to see how you can actually take trash and recycle and repurpose it into something beautiful, because I honestly think that your pieces are really, really beautiful. And I think that
Thank you.
just leads, you're welcome. And I think that just leads me to my next question. Being in Nigeria, have there been any challenges running your business? What are some things you possibly say having some kind of setbacks? And maybe for anyone who would like to start a business in a similar field, what would you advise them to do?
Okay. I think the major setback or challenge I had was getting equipment. So when I started off at first, it was really hard to get the equipment I needed, because I plan to DIY again. I plan to use other equipment that were not made for recycling, and they were not easy to find, because the major equipments that I need for recycling are very, very expensive. So I was going to use alternative methods for it. The major equipment I use, I was using it for over a year, and then it got bad. And to replace it, I spent over 5 months trying to find a replacement for it. I checked online, and then I checked Benin and Port Harcourt and Lagos. I was roaming around for a while before I was able to replace it. So the equipments are not readily available per se, and the ones available are very expensive. But you can also find alternative methods, because based on that setback, I was able to find another way I could recycle the plastics. So I feel like when we come across challenges, it's challenges us to find other ways and to
Solutions.
be innovative here to find solutions to our problems. So that, and you mentioned that in Nigeria it's not. Sorry, what was the other
Yeah, so like
question?
in Nigeria, sometimes running a business could be a bit difficult. Have you had any specific challenges running while in Nigeria?
Okay, so another one would be people accepting what you do, like I mentioned earlier. So when they don't know what you are doing is not really known and it's not common, they tend not to take you seriously. So that was one thing. At first, it was like, oh, and also people, when it comes to jewelry, people see it as something that it's luxury and it should be gold and all this things. So most of the time, it was at first it was that, oh, okay, these pieces are for children or something. It took a while to convince people to actually see that, okay, it's not for babies or something. Like you can actually wear them and they are beautiful and they are not downgrading you or something. So that's, and also um I went for an exhibition once and there was this lady and she told me that, oh, what I'm doing is nice. And then that she was also recycling plastic to make bags or something like that. But then you will not find, she was telling me, oh, you will not find business in Nigeria or they will not support you and stuff like that. And I was feeling somehow at first, but eventually I just told myself, ah, and at that exhibition, I was able to convince people to buy and stuff like that. So at that point, I felt really encouraged because um, there was somebody that was doing it and she had deviated from it because she felt, oh, it wasn't something that was sustainable in Nigeria per se. But I, at the end of the day, if you are consistent with what you are doing, I feel like people would eventually see the value in it and
Mm.
jump on the and stuff. Yeah. So,
I completely agree. I think consistency is everything. And honestly, I also think that no matter what country you find yourself in, there's always going to be a target audience for something. And
yeah.
I really love that you stay consistent. And I'm sure that eventually you're going to even get bigger to the point you probably need more people to support you in your team and everything. But I 100% think that you will definitely get bigger and do better and greater things with your business. Consistency is actually what matters. And I do think that there's a target audience in every country you're in. So I just think that sometimes people are quite narrow minded and they think that, oh, if it's not the
Yeah.
conventional pathway, then there's nothing you could do. But I do like the fact that you're beating all odds and you're still staying consistent. And I'm sure eventually it's going to even get bigger, bigger, bigger and better. Yeah. So I just
Yeah.
think that you should keep on going and you're doing such an amazing job so far.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, we're almost done, but before I let you go, I'd like to know when you're not making jewelry, what do you like to do for fun? How do you spend your time on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I really like making things. That's just basically it. So I bake a lot. I
Mm.
bake. I had a baking business actually when I was younger with my sister. So I bake a lot and I like playing the guitar and also making things. So I'm part of a creative decor team in my church and we make a lot of things from um we make a lot of DIY things basically. So like for Easter this year, we made a tomb from cardboard and chicken wire and things like that. So I don't know if that does that count as fun, but I really just like making things and yeah, I just like making things. So that's basically and spending some time with my family and friends and stuff like that. So
I think it just shows that you're an all-rounded creative person, and I think it's just a part of who you are, which I love. I always love when I see extremely creative people because you're doing music, you're doing fashion, you're doing recycling, and everything is just so cool. I just think that you're a pretty, pretty cool person. And just to round up before I let you go, I'd like to know, for any young person who kind of wants to go into a creative career and they're not too sure of how to start or how people would accept them, what would you advise them to do?
okay, I would like to say that you should just start basically. You can start small and you don't have to have it all figured out at first. You would learn along the way because failure is part of the process. If you don't fail, you would not know how to improve, basically. So just start and just basically start and don't listen to the criticism and all that. So basically, you don't have any competition around. You don't look at people as your competition. You are your own competition. So just keep improving yourself based on the mistakes you've made. So if you look at the pieces I made initially and the pieces I'm making now, there's a tremendous difference. Like I can tell. I thought they were so beautiful before, obviously, but I can tell that there's a big difference. So if I did not start, I wouldn't have been able to reach this level that I am at now. So just keep on going, be consistent, and listen to your heart, basically. Listen to um, listen to your heart, and then know what value you are creating and know why you are doing what you are doing, because you need to know your why. That is what would motivate you to be consistent, knowing why you're doing what you're doing. So that's basically it.
Thank you so much,
Consistency.
Timao. I think my last question for you for today would be, how can people support Bedazzled? What can we expect next from you, and how can people support you, basically?
Okay, you can shop my products from my website. You can also share my videos online. Yeah, and what else? What next for Bedazzled? So I plan on releasing a line of home design products. So basically clocks and things like that very soon. Hopefully before the year runs out. I'm still perfecting my design. So basically clocks, flower vases, soap dishes, coasters, things like that. So you can support. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. I'm also going to start dropping some videos on recycling courses because a lot of people have reached out to me for that. So that is what next, I believe. That's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Timaro. I think those I still wanted to end, but I have another question based on what you just said. Could you talk more about the recycling classes? What are they about? How does that happen?
Okay, so I take some classes on small scale recycling in Nigeria and how to go about it, the equipment you need, because it took me a while to figure out the alternate equipment you could use in Nigeria for that. So I basically am going to teach on what you could get and how to recycle the pieces easily, methods you could use, things like that, basically. So I host some, not host, I partner with some organizations to teach and then to teach these classes. And then I'm also going to put that on my YouTube so that it can be accessible to everyone, basically.
All right, thank you. And do you have any plans of maybe exposing that bigger for more people to maybe sign up for classes, or to just be partner to partner based for now?
Eventually, yes, but I don't know if I'm thinking about that right now. But I just want it to be available to as many people as would like to start right now. But eventually, I would do that. Yeah.
All right. I think on that note, that's a wrap for today's episode. I will
All
be
right. Thank you
linking
so much.
I'll be linking all of Timao's details on our pages so that you could follow her. I'll also be linking her website so you could shop. I would also be buying from you, just FYI, because I think your pieces are really cool. So thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much. All
Yes,
right.
thank you so much for being part of today's episode. Do you have any final words before we leave for today?
Um. Well, whatever you do, just know the value that you are creating and know that the value you are creating is good and be consistent. Consistency really beats, actually, it really beats talent, to be honest. When you are consistent, you are able to reach across and create a lot more value because you are giving, when you give yourself, you become relevant to the society and nobody can turn down relevance, basically. So, yeah. That's all.
Right. Thank you so much, Timao. So make sure you follow Timao everywhere on social media. Her pages are going to be linked, and we will see you in our next episode. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.